can't wait. Been waiting all week for today. We have the draft finally here. We'll be looking to solidify the future of our franchise moving forward. And that starts with basically bringing in a new quarterback here. So we'll see how things play out for us. But I did want to introduce what our final draft board looks like to start things off. So I've actually narrowed down things quite a bit for ourselves. We do have a quarterback at the top of the board. This isn't necessarily who's the best of the best. Actually, there's still some misses in here. This isn't necessarily who is the absolute best of the best, but this is something where I've aligned them based on skill set and then kind of yeah, a lot of this is actually off. I think when I was editing last time it switched up a bit, but they're basically aligned for as best as possible according to skill set. So ideally for us, we have amassed a pretty talented team here of individuals. It's 60 deep for us, generally accounting for the first 3 rounds. So quarterbacks leading the way. Um, I will let you know who my preference is, deciding on who actually goes first. But I've kind of taken a long, hard look at it, and I'm excited if we are able to grab that person. I'm also highly interested in Kerry McCullough. Um, he happens to be a size, skill, speed kind of force there, so nothing drastic at 4.74, but you can't really ask for too much more. He's on a closer range in age 22 to being younger, so that's also a benefit for us. Interested in Cortez Cardi position potentially as a position switch if he doesn't essentially end up being on the line for us. And then Cordell Stith is kind of my go-to at wide receiver. So Denzel Waters is the other main target. I wouldn't mind getting either one. Um, there is the age factor. So Denzel Waters is 21, whereas Cordell Stith is already 23. However, he's pretty much dominated the combine, and he's not that much slower at running a 4.47 than Denzel Waters as a 4.43. And it's really that catching traffic that's catching my eye, if you will. So I appreciate the route running they both have. I'll kind of see if things change. I'm assuming both of them could potentially get scooped up beforehand. Um, but we shall see. So, I mean, kind of running through here. You guys can let me know who you think would be a great addition for us. We do need right tackle and depth at guard. So keep that in mind as we're taking a look at things. He had a great combine himself. So he could definitely end up being a target for us, as it's definitely a huge fall off from the offensive line talent in this draft. So it's best to definitely try to snatch him up early. Yeah, some of these are definitely misaligned. That's okay though. We got the general consensus of where everybody should be. Couple players that didn't really have combines completed. And yeah, this seems very top heavy, at least from what I was able to see. But a lot of the main picks were going to be, of course, in the first and second, and then the rest of it is primarily in the middle round. So I would have loved to have scouted a lot more, but I focused the depth at linebacker and offensive line after kind of doing our general scouting of the first 2 rounds for everyone else. So let's go ahead and proceed. Kind of want to take a look at how free agency played out for us as well. We were able to sign everybody that we were looking for. And with that said, we also, I think, made out pretty well, all things considered, with what I was kind of targeting and looking for compared to what I was expecting to find in the draft. So we picked up John Ross III, who I felt like he's young at 25. Uh, Physical wise, he's outstanding. So when we take a look at his ratings, we know the speed and stuff is up there. He was able to develop some of his route running and things a bit after struggling so much early on. So I figured we take a flyer. Maybe we can use him to replace Jamison Crowder. Uh, Deontay Foreman or Dante Foreman. I'm not sure which one is actually correct, but I feel like he might be able to be our lead running back depending on what we do in the draft, and he potentially might factor into what our new scheme set is actually going to be as we look to alleviate some pressure from whichever quarterback ends up taking the reins for us. So, super excited to see how things play out there. Wanted to hedge my bets with the offensive line, so we picked up a young Louis Hankins who potentially can be molded into something really good for us if we aren't able to secure what kind of would prefer to have happen for us. But there's too many players, not enough picks to go around for us, and we have quite a few, but we're not going to be able to play around with them that much. Can't solve everything in one draft. Brandon Fusco, essentially for the same reason. I figure if nothing else, he'll be an important depth piece for us. And then we have Xavier Williams to round out things on the defensive line because it is very sorely needed. And last but not least, Avery Moss. We took a flyer on a linebacker who could potentially come in and do what needs to get done in terms of coming in and making sure we don't lose too much production or void the scheme that we're trying to utilize. Looks like taking a look around the league, Trent Williams finding probably what'll be his final team for his tenure as a football player. Dolphins pick up Kareem Hunt. So this will be their star off-season addition, and we will be seeing him twice a year for what looks like essentially the next 4 to 5 years if he completes his contract. Couple other players going around. I really kind of want to see what's just going on in the division. They also pick up Justin Houston. Devin McCourty still balling out. He's with the Jaguars. Zay Jones going to the Patriots, and I wonder kind of what their game plan is going to be when it comes to continuing their draft and things. Um, what's going to be the quarterback plan for them? We'll have to take a look at their actual depth charts in the preseason. Kalichi Osemele going to the Dolphins, so they blew quite a bit of money. Secured themselves three of the top 30 or so players so far. Josh Doxson to the Patriots, so they're overloading on receivers. David Moore to the Bills. Still quite a few names in here. Muhammad Wilkerson, if only his career would have worked out with us. Taco Charlton going to the Bills. Hopefully, they're looking to develop and be able to capitalize on what he should have become. Nick Kwiatkowski. It was one of the top middle linebackers of this draft, and he'll be going to New England, try to hold things down. Kirk Cousins. So they go to veteran route. Maybe they're looking to have a mentor for a young quarterback they pick up. Darquez Denard taking a flyer on a talented but inefficient cornerback. Jordan Willis. The Dolphins are making it rain. I wonder how much salary cap they actually had to start off with. Alex Okafor going to the Patriots. Bills get a punter. It's interesting to see how some of the division rivals are filling out their team. Tyrus Ballantyne, it was either going to be between him and the player that we picked up at right tackle, and I felt like ours just matched up a bit better. Would have been more efficient if he stepped in immediately. Greg Robinson to the Bills. Patriots get a fullback with C.J. Ham. Bills get some line talent. Dakota Bird going to the Patriots. So they did. I think everyone in the division has essentially did really well for themselves. Luke Sexton going to the Bills tight end. I think everyone made out well. I think overall everybody's signed about 6 agents or so in our division. I think we might have the best average if you want to go pure overall talent. And let's go ahead and get into what is going to be the draft that sets us up for the future. I don't put I don't generally even actually go through doing a lot of what do you want to call it? Um, Trades and whatnot, at least when it comes to the draft. It just is a habit. It's not anything intentional or anything like that. So this will be essentially
The
foreign territory
Broncos
a
are
bit.
now on the clock.
Denver Broncos on the clock. Now, my game plan is because I'm comfortable being able to decide between uh, two of the quarterbacks at the moment. I won't cry over spoiled milk if we have one over the other. And the one that I prefer, we have a lot of leeway with potentially depending on how these first two picks go. With that said, again, quarterback is a preference for us. Wide receiver core is a preference. We need young talent that we can bring in and have developed alongside our team. Tight end, I was looking for a different dimension. If we're taking a look at the line, I'm just taking a look at any players that would have been talented enough either at positions we need or that could potentially switch over and still excel. There's a handful of different players for various reasons here. But with that said, the standout for me is definitely Trevor Presley. And I feel like he brings the dimension that we didn't necessarily draft for last year in that he's more run focused. So potentially can be a hidden development for us. The line I'm not worried about. I was hoping to potentially get some pieces to stash and develop or to bring in as instant impact. The line is where things are going to be needed the most, but it looked like there wasn't a lot of overall draftable talent for us. So hopefully we can make some moves and potentially go up and down as needed. And I'm looking to continue to add to our cornerback core as that's another one that's kind of dominated by veterans. And this is definitely another top heavy one. And we should see how things play out. I didn't actually finish scouting everyone here in the beginning because the traits weren't overall satisfactory enough to me. But Joey Hardy not having a great combine. I'm not sure what would potentially make him the top cornerback there in Madden's view. And then Abbott. He does have a much better combine in terms of pure speed and having a superior agility. It's not quite that strong. Can't necessarily have that explosion, but he does have a strong man coverage skill set already. So somebody might get somebody, if they're patient, that can develop him into, I think, somebody that's pretty special. You don't see 4.29 speed at cornerback too often. And he's young enough at 22 to where it's not really a concern unless he's just not getting playing time. Safety, just kind of want to see what was out there. We can potentially get a first round talent in the third. We don't actually have any kind of idea what his coverage traits will look like, but he is very solid, at least physical wise, and what he can do. Fast, decently strong, and he has that agility. So probably a sideline to sideline type guy. I would say essentially the same thing of these, and they could probably be interchangeable. At least this guy could, between strong safety and safety position. So somebody will be picking up some great ones there. So with that said, let's take a look at who the Broncos will select. And the Broncos
The
go
Titans
with
are now on the clock.
Warren Spencer, top quarterback that was on the board, and they decide to start off their rebuilding in the right way. At least if you think about the general consensus of top quarterbacks panning out. Although history kind of proves otherwise, you definitely need to go all in with building around what they can do. So that was the player that I was hoping may potentially have fell a little bit and landed. My absolute number one preference, though, was actually Kiefer Ellis. So he's young. He has some wiggle to him, so he kind of looks almost like a scrambler if you take a look at his combine. 21. He's already a scheme fit for us. He has strong throw power, great short accuracy, and he can throw the ball deep, which syncs well with what we're looking to get done for Tyreek Hill actually over the course of the year. And to top it off, for whatever reason, he's rated round two, even though he has round one talent, and he's kind of still near like the middle of the pack in round two. So I'm hoping that we can actually get away with maybe waiting to the eighth pick of round two for us. But I think I'll secure him so we can get that 5th-year contract as well later in the first. So for me now, things switch over to who is going to come in and be able to offer the most for us immediately. And for me, I think my targets are going to be either Denzel Waters or Cordell Stith. I'll take whoever's essentially left over. I'm not going to be too picky there. Um, the next one is going to be, where do you sit here? Trevor Presley, I think, is the preference. I want to continue to focus on that line. And I think that's the next piece that can help do it for us. So it's just a matter of if we're going to need to trade up or not, since we have to wait till the 12th pick. So the Titans in round one
The
decide to go
Steelers
with
are now on the clock.
Reed Wentworth. He was the top left outside linebacker that happened to be on the board. So far, so good. Still most of the players that I'm looking for a possibility for us. Steelers on the clock. They decide to go
The
with
Redskins are now on the clock.
Cortez Carty, and he does look like an absolute monster as a 79. I imagine he has to be a superstar. So they're definitely getting a great piece. And I feel like they always tend to draft that way. You know, if they're getting a lineman or a linebacker, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be great. Redskins on the clock. They decide to go
The
with
Dolphins are now on the clock.
Denzel Waters. So that changes things for us quite a bit in the fact that that leaves us with Cordell Stith. If we take a look at other potential options, if we can't decide to move up and choose him as our go-to for the draft, we need to figure out who else we might have as fallback options. I do like Jaden Norman as well. He has a route running skills as a deep threat, which is pretty rare. He doesn't have the general exceptional speed that you would expect to see with them, but 4.48 isn't bad whatsoever, and I could work around what he's able to do. Problem is, he's already 24, so we need him to develop quickly on that rookie contract because any extension would be based on the fact that he's excelled as a wide receiver in the league. Taking a look at the draft board, that's essentially where things basically kind of stop for us. So next best option would probably be Arthur Luther, and it's the same basic situation as Jaden Norman for us. He has the size, the speed, 4.43. He's strong, which works well in our favor, and we can live with his explosion ability and the agility, which compared to Jaden Norman is somewhat around the same, at least agility wise. So I think we would have to go with the age factor and things there just a bit. Only a year younger, but at this point, the top three wide receivers we would be looking at left all happen to be 23. So, do we move up for him? Do we kind of sit, wait, and see if we can get Trevor Presley with our own pick? Or are we going to need to move up? We have I got a feeling we're probably going to have to make a move for Presley, and it's a matter of where can we go. Dolphins are on the clock next. I'm not entirely sure what they might be interested in adding to for their team, but if we take a look, at the moment they need a cornerback, a center, a quarterback, and a right tackle. So we might need to make a move with our division rivals, even though they did pick up Tyrus Ballantyne, which I think we might want to go ahead and do. So they want a cornerback, a center, a quarterback, right tackle, a left outside linebacker. Is there anything we might have to help keep our one that we currently have? Brian Poole's 28. We were looking to have Perry Nickerson pick up some more time in the slot. This could potentially hurt us now if we can't really get a cornerback that's going to be able to handle things for us right away. Really don't have anything here. This is our developmental player. We're hoping, well, I expect for him definitely to get some increased playing time, but I'm hoping he continues to develop quickly. Don't really have anything to offer at quarterback. All we have is Sam Darnold, which I'm keeping him because if he doesn't outright win the competition we're planning on setting up, we're going to need a capable backup. At center, maybe they're willing to take a Mason Cole. I don't really have, I don't know, maybe we can move Chuma. Gabe Roberson is definitely sticking. Um, what's the interest? Mason Cole would be the preference so far. So we have something. Let's see what we might be able to do here. So if we want their 5, and we still want to try to keep our 1, we can offer Mason Cole. Next year, let's see, 2 7s, a 6, 2 5s, a 4, a 3. We have 3 2s, and we have a 1. Let's see, Mason Cole, 66 overall center. They're interested. They are interested. I know a 2 alone isn't going to do it, but maybe if we can offer them a 2 and let's say a 4 from this draft. Trade decline. We're close. We are close though. I wonder if 8 picks higher in this draft does anything for them. Still in the 4th. We're just there. If we had a 3rd, it'd be perfect. If I give them a 1st and Cole, and maybe we have them kick us back something, I got a feeling that will work. But let's just do a. I don't really want to go beyond the 4th there, and all we have above that 2nd. Which one did we offer them? We offered them the 41st. Yep. Ah. I guess we can. That's tough. I know they need something this year to help sweeten the deal. That got us just over the hump. If I would have had the trade thing increase for my coaching skill, we probably would have been able to get away with this. So let's say I offer them the number 2 again, our last number 2 in this draft, and we have them try to kick us back that third rounder that we're missing. Can this work? Too much. Too much value. All right, so I don't really want to do any like player for player and pick swaps. Let's say you give us another 4th to add, and we can use that to just kind of continue to go up in the 3rd, but it does not look like that's going to happen. I could again just do another future pick, but I'd rather just try to get what I can get away
Wait,
with
looks
here.
like both war rooms are feverishly back on the phones. I think that means a trade is coming.
And we get it done. So we send Mason Cole, our 2nd next year, and a 2nd this year, to our division rival Dolphins, and we pick up the 5th for round 1, and we pick up an actual round 5 pick this year as well that was kicked back. So with that said, run into the podium, securing the rest of our offensive line talent, which means we really just need a right guard now. And to finish out the depth, we are going to be going to select Trevor Presley. Now, it is just a tad bit early, but when I'm taking a look at what else I'm looking for, Cordell Stith would really be the only potential pick for me. Bryce Coolidge is definitely nice. He kind of has the build to still be a guard as well if we did a swap. And he's young. We need a talent. So the concern would be if we went Cordell Stith, would Presley still be there at 12? And then if not, and we choose to get Presley, who's basically our next go-to afterwards? Kerry McCullough will still be there, hopefully. If not, maybe we can go cornerback, kind of balance out our draft a bit. But I think you should pretty much go with the instincts whenever possible. So I am going to go with Trevor Presley. He's going to come in and help secure things on the line
The
for us.
Buccaneers are now on the clock.
And we get a hidden development. They say we reached a bit. He's the 14th true value. But we get 86 strength, 75 block, 75 run block, 76 pass. So he has a good core skill set. He has a bit of technical ability when it comes to running and passing, at least finesse-wise. That lead block will need to increase a bit, but he should progress quickly for us. Just like Jack Barker was able to do, he potentially could end at an 80 as well. I'm happy. I have no regrets with the move that we made. So let's see what the Bucs decide they want to do.
The Eagles are now on
Bradley
the clock.
Pills, strong safety, 78. He was as great as he looked. Eagles on the clock.
The Vikings are
They
now
go
on the
with
clock.
the top tight end, Evan McFarland. After that, I would imagine there is a steep fall off. You can see the next 2 top rated. They don't do so well. Vertical threats tend to be a bit better, of course. So it just really depends on how much you want to stick to your scheme. I suppose otherwise it's definitely better to just probably pick up a vertical talent and then try to round out the skill set. But Vikings on the clock. Vikings decide they are going to go with
The Lions are now on the clock.
Bryce Coolidge. So he was a 72 overall. I imagine he had to be a hidden development as well. But it looks like we definitely probably got away with the better pick of the 2, at least for what we're looking to do. Now, Cordell Stith is still there. I imagine Dwight Lynch should go before our boy Ellis does, so I'm not worried about any jumps really. Keeping in mind, I do need to move back up into the end of the first though to probably secure him. Um, so we probably will walk away with three first round talents here, and then have to wait quite a bit. Cordell Stith is still there though, and then at that point, I don't know. We can go. There was actually a really good halfback that I think was really rated. Here we go. Tyson Sampson, predicted to go in the fourth. He's a true two-round talent. I think he might be our go-to, at least in terms of the running back position. Um, we'll just continue to see how things play out here. I'm a bit concerned at the same time. I won't be crushed. I know we have a few different backup plans here. Lions on the clock. They decide to go
The
with
49ers are now on the clock.
Sean Abbott. So hopefully they're looking to move on from the T's Tabor debacle and actually give themselves a shot at building a defense that can actually stop them from losing fourth quarter blowouts. San Francisco on the clock. The 49ers are deciding they are going to
The
go with
Raiders are now on the clock.
Matthew Ink. And he happens to look like a huge bust for them at that position. There's a few others that I felt like might have been more worth waiting for and just picking them up later. For example, Ibrahim Burton, I didn't really have. I think it was just the two players at that position that we were looking for. So yikes! But that's good news for us. That means there's only one team ahead of us, Raiders, who potentially would step in front of what we're looking to do. Cordell Stiff, top player on the board at the moment. Um, they potentially could go quarterback. You don't know. Otherwise, it looks like the next best person is most likely going to be a DB if they choose to go another route. Um, maybe they, decide Matthews here is a good alternative. Fingers crossed. Raiders on the clock. They decide to go with
The Jets are now on the clock.
Reed Larson, right outside linebacker, and that means we lucked out. We get both the players one that was preferred and the other one that we did not mind, and I would not be mad at an A minus catching traffic, decent route running, great release, wide receiver coming in, bit older, but I think he should be an instant impact player for us right away. 4.47 speed, number one in the combine at everything from vert jump to bench press for us, and I cannot seem to talk tonight. And Cordell Stith, there's probably no reason to move on from him. DJ Woodard looks really good. He's young, doesn't quite have the speed that I'd like to see. Harvey Matthews looks really good. He just doesn't have any technical skill from what I can see. He probably still would have a B minus for maybe power or finesse. I think, yeah, we're going to go ahead and lean towards picking up Stiff. We could finish rounding out the line as well. Caleb Kirkland looks like a monster. We're not going to guess it, though. We need that young talent at receiver. We are going to go Cordell Stith.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
We get a 75, number 6 true value, hidden development wide receiver. Couldn't be happier. 91 speed and acceleration. He has an aggressive catch. Catching traffic is nice. Starting off at an 82. He runs pretty decent routes, and we can get away with him already being good, able to get off the line with that release. I am overjoyed at the moment. The only thing that can tarnish this now would be somebody encroaching on picking the quarterback we're looking to lead our franchise potentially in the future. Even if Sam Darnold wins now, hopefully we can just build his value up and we'll be able to have him move into the new face of the franchise for us. So, Jaguars on the clock.
The Packers are now on the
They
clock.
go Jamison St. Clair. They're on the line. They're looking to continue to build up Saxonville over there. Packers decide
The
they're
Rams are
going to
now on
go
the
with
clock.
Monty Bassie, trying to secure their defensive line as well. The Rams.
The Falcons are now on the clock.
They pick up DJ Woodard. I'm not quite sure if he's a bust. I think it would really depend on if he ended up being normal development or not. But he had the skill set. So I've said it before. I think it's important that people decide to go with skill over physical traits unless they are absolutely sure that they can be developed. Otherwise, that's how you get a monster like DJ Metcalf. And hopefully we have something like that on our hands. Falcons decide they are going to choose
The Seahawks are now on the clock.
Harvey Matthews, and he actually looks really good to not have had a pass rushing trade in his top 3. So it looks like they might have finally turned around their pass rush woes if Harvey Matthews works out. Seahawks, you never know what they're going to do. They tend to be a player archetype type team.
The Bills are now on the clock.
And they might have continued that trait. They decide they're going to go with Joe Hardy, who was one of the other top cornerbacks, but he had a really poor skill set. So maybe they're going to give him that time to kind of groom himself and get prepared for next year. Bills decide that they want to invest
The
in
Mexico City Diablos are now on the clock.
Dudley Potts, and I'm actually a bit confused because they still have McCullough on the board, and he seems like the superior option by all standards I can tell. So I'm not sure what they were thinking in that pick, but they built the team up to be really successful. So I'm not going to knock anything that they're doing till we can have our own effectiveness. Diablos on the clock.
The Texans are now on the clock.
They go Matt Quincy. Texans decide they are going to go with
The Ravens are now on the clock.
Denzel Wilkins. And this is around the area I'm starting to get a bit concerned. Now, I expected Dwight Lynn would probably go somewhere around this area or a bit sooner. I was kind of thinking like the 15 to 19 range. And I know well, there's also Zach Palmer, but if people did their research on the quarterback position, I think everybody would need to agree with the fact that Kiefer Ellis is definitely the better alternative. I really don't want to get leapfrogged by anybody. I think we can wait a few more picks. If not picked up by like the 26th pick, I think that's when I'll kind of be looking to make a move again.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Kerry McCullough goes to the Ravens as they look for their next version of Ray Lewis. The Browns decide.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
Kendrick Caruthers, right outside linebacker, is going to be hopefully a pass rush phenom they can pair with Myles Garrett. Cowboys.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Joey Boone looked like an absolute monster. He was the cornerback that I kept seeing kind of flash on my board here, and I would have loved to have picked him up. But we really need to secure that quarterback position before I think about anything else. Now, I will say next plan would probably be Lynn Lockhart in my mind. I don't mind the player being undersized if they can ball out, and it looks like he can come in and do that immediately. He might get bullied from a physical perspective, but I think he can recover. You know, there's a few different players around the league that prove they're fiercer, even though they're a bit on the smaller side. So if we could get everybody that was a size and skill talent, you know, perfect prospect, then NFL wouldn't be too much fun. New York Giants
The
side.
Panthers are now on the clock.
Angelo Simon is going to be their investment of the year as they look to move on from pretty much, you can say almost that entire defense has been a disaster. Players have been doing numerous dumb things to harm themselves or just haven't panned out as expected. Carolina Panthers,
The Cardinals are now on the clock.
they get Caleb Kirkland, and he looks every bit as good as what was expected. Now, if I wasn't of the mindset of kind of building outside in, I know a lot of people say you should start inside, so trenches specifically and defensive line if we're talking about defense, and then worry about the outside pieces. On defense, I think having those safeties and cornerbacks are more important, and then that gives you some wiggle room to try to develop and test certain things when it comes to line and linebacker talent if you're going to rely on just physical traits. Um, on the line, I feel like the preference is work with the tackles. Well, center for me, and then tackles, and then you can worry about the guard positions. We happen to already have our center of the future, hopefully our left tackle of the future. We have a former center moved to left guard that's holding down the fort, and now we've just picked up our right tackle. Caleb Kirkland would have been a great addition, but we have definitely done very well for ourselves so far, and that we have picked up two phenomenal talents, both hidden development, and we should see a pretty quick turnaround. I'm hoping so far. Arizona Cardinals decide they
The
want to go
Chiefs are
with
now on the clock.
Tyson Horn, 65 overall cornerback. So at this point, I feel like people are grasping for the stars a bit. I just want to take a look one more time. Yeah, we're going to have to pretty much go within one of those first two rounds, because if we take a look at what else I scouted, basically nothing, because I was looking at the traits and specifically those that were man coverage. I kind of expected them to already have a high skill set in that area, which was not true. So it's not looking good for us. Chiefs on the clock. They are going to help out Patrick Mahomes even more, or are they going to try to step up the defense?
The Patriots are now on the clock.
Defense it is. Trey Marshall, left outside linebacker. Again, linebacker class was top heavy, so you really didn't get one of the star players, if you want to call them that. Then there was not going to be a whole lot else here, at least immediately in terms of where they're projected to go. Next best person, probably Jamal Adams at middle linebacker. For me, I would probably have to say, I don't know, potentially Michael Aldridge, only because he has that bit of size and height over Caleb Jensen there. And who knows, maybe his finesse trait is a bit better since neither one of them have one in the top. And then on the right side, there's a bit more leeway for people to take their shots. Nathan Landry is probably looking like the best option left there. And then depending on scheme, what you want to do, etc., Jacoby Washington over Kelvin Carrington, only because they tend to have lower technical traits in the pass rushing areas. Patriots are on the clock. I've tested things so far, and we haven't been bitten in the behind just yet. I'm curious if they'll go quarterback, and they decide to go
The Bengals are now on the clock.
right in. Richie Brent's 70 overall. And we are looking like we're shaping up to run away with quite a steal. Now, I don't know if I want to test things any further. I think it might be in our best interest to go ahead, see if we can't make a move with the Bengals. Get there first so we can secure 5 years with what is expected to be our quarterback of the future. I don't really have any other players that I can potentially offer probably got away with one realistically with the Mason Cole, but the line talent in here is so poor that I think I would believe the fact that somebody might overpay a bit to get somebody that's at least serviceable. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody else that we'll be able to really go with. So we would have to. Jakai Polite's probably going to need to stay. Let's offer this one. It's only 4 picks later. And we'll give up our extra 2. Maybe 2 second rounders will do it. All right, so they need a bit more. I'm willing to give up. I'm hoping if maybe a 4th will do it. I'm expecting I'll probably have to give up that 3rd, which means for the 2nd draft in a row, we'll only be going with the whatever picks we can accumulate in the first 2 rounds. Oh, actually, got to do what I can do. Let me try that 4th first. And hopefully we make it work. And we don't. At this point, I know the 3rd seemed like they would have been a bit more interested, but we might need to actually increase it still.
I see both teams filling out cards. You know what that means? We've got a trade.
We get it done. We give up a 2nd and a 3rd next year, a 2nd this year to secure the 29th pick in the first round. And we have what is going to be our new face of the franchise in Kiefer Ellis, young quarterback from Texas. He's already a scheme fit. He's not your standard pocket passer from the standpoint of how athletic he is. When you compare him to other quarterbacks,
The Bears are now on the clock.
get a 71 overall, hidden talent once again, 19th true talent. We get him at 29. 90 throw power. He's a balanced quarterback style. And at least for now, it looks like we don't have to worry about that paranoid pocket passing presence that he would have, like Sam Darnold is. 81 deep accuracy, 75 medium, 82 short. Awareness is decent. He can throw under pressure. Play action's going to have to improve. And he has the ability to break out of those sacks. He has that speed factor as well if he does decide to rip off some runs. And that completes the trifecta for us, ladies and gentlemen. I think for this live, I'll only keep this at the first round. And I'll go back to continuing the videos for the remainder. Or maybe I'll move it over to Twitch potentially and just recap the off season. But I am extremely happy. Welcome to Drafting 101. We get 3 first round talents. We had to move up a bit to get some at positions where we rather have waited. But we have essentially secured our future in the offense. In one draft, Chicago Bears on the clock. They
The
decide
Colts are now on the clock.
they're going to go with Brendan Foley, first running back off the board. He looks great as a 76 overall. Colts pick 31.
The Saints are now on the clock.
They go with Francis Hodges at a right end. And the Saints are going to cap off what has been an amazing first round for us. And if all 3 talents pan out, we're going to be needing to be very judicious in future off seasons while we look to secure cap room to keep those talents. Saints on the clock. They decide their future is going to be in the hands of
The Broncos are now on the clock.
Duron Graves or Craves. I can't quite tell from this angle. Looks like Graves. 68 overall. Can't judge them until we kind of see what some of their traits and things are going to look like. But ladies and gentlemen, we have secured some amazing pieces. So once again, we take a look. Our first pick went to Trevor Presley. We needed to move up to acquire him, but I thought it would be a much better idea to secure having a decent line, whoever our quarterback is going to be. Number 14, we ended up scooping up the fifth pick in the draft in order to secure his services. It's 22. It's a hidden development. It's going to see time basically immediately after battling it out with our free agent pickup. And he has a nice skill set to build around. Next up, Cordell Stith. He fell to us at number 12 after being passed up quite a bit, which I think is a mistake for quite a few teams after they seen who they got. Number 6, we get him at 12. So we probably should have got him based on the rankings with the pick that we took, Presley. And he looks absolutely phenomenal. Great agility. He has a catch in traffic, which should help out immediately for us and continue to increase throughout the season. Workable speed and acceleration. We'll have to get that catching talent up a bit, and of course, we're going to continue to make sure his route running improves, and he's going to be able to get off the line effectively as a rookie. So I imagine he's kind of got the build of what a Calvin Ridley was like. A little bit less speed. Um, Route running is probably less than what Ridley came in with, but he probably has a better release and catching traffic than what was expected from Ridley. He also has a bit of jumping to him. And our final pick, quarterback of the future for us, Kiefer Ellis, hidden development, 19th ranked true talent. We get him at 29. He was projected to go somewhere in the middle of the second, but I did not want to lose his services and have to settle for the third quarterback who was draft graded to be in the first round, but was not something I felt like would have matched well with us. Balanced quarterback style, throw power, we're looking to get increased, but we can definitely manage with it. Deep accuracy looks good, just so does his short accuracy. We can deal with the medium, and he has some ability to throw under pressure and be able to get out of those sacks. And he can scamper around, so he has some running ability, and he has better carrying than what we are expected to see from the likes of Sam Darnold. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'm excited to see how the preseason goes for our young talents here. We've had great injury luck throughout the first year, and I'm hoping that really continues for us. Any one of these losses could definitely be detrimental, but knock on wood. With that said, though, guys, it's your boy Jersey Boy. I'm out. Look for the following videos for the remaining rounds to come up. If not tomorrow, then definitely the day after, as I get ready for some more Ghost of Tsushima content to come out. Otherwise, check for me on Twitch, and I'll be looking to start a new series there as well. Jersey Boy out.